Good evening, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, together with the Presidential Communications Office.
We bring you the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news coverage from the People's Television, IBC, Philippine News Agency, Philippine Information Agency, and Presidential Broadcast Service. I'm Princess Habiba Saripauda.
And I'm Joe Fernandez from Radio Pilipinas. Welcome to Balitang Pambansa. Tonight's headlines. Malacanang clarifies the Vice President is not considered relevant to the responsibilities of the National Security Council membership following the issuance of Executive Order 81 or the NSC reorganization. The Department of Health states the alleged international health concern circulating on social media is still unverified. Around 6 million devotees are expected to join the Traslacion 2025. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. declares January 9 or the Feast of Jesus Nazareno as a special non-working day in Manila. The government strengthens its manhunt operations on the remaining 11,000 foreign POGO workers who are now considered illegal aliens. Concerned government agencies discuss the salient points to be included in the new guidelines for Ayuda para sa Kapos and Kita or AKAP program implementation this year. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. issued Executive Order number 81, which orders the reorganization of the National Security Council or NSC. The NSC shall now be composed of the President as the chairperson, Senate President, House Speaker, Senate President pro tempore, 3 deputy speakers designated by the Speaker of the House, and other officials from the executive and legislative branches. This also includes government officials and private citizens the leader of the land may appoint or designate from time to time. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin issued a statement regarding EO 81 where he clarified that at the moment, the Vice President is not considered relevant to the responsibilities of membership in the NSC. However, the EO reserves to the President the power to add members or advisors if he deems necessary. National Security Advisor Eduardo Año expressed support to the President's issuance of Executive Order number 81. He explained that EO is necessary to further enhance the formulation of the country's policies concerning national security. Also, Año disclosed that the NSC is firstly an advisory body and its composition is always subject to authority of the President.
The Department of Health or DOH clarified the information spreading on social media regarding the alleged international health concern does not come from reliable sources. According to DOH, there is no confirmation from the World Health Organization and mentioned country. The agency also emphasized that the Philippines is an active participant in WHO member states that follow international health regulations, which provide updates and warnings about new intentional health concerns.
Philippine disease surveillance systems are in place and working. The DOH is actively verifying all information and will keep the Filipino public updated. Please do not share questionable websites or online sources. Let us not spread misinformation and confusion.
All hands on deck in preps for a successful Traslacion Thursday next week from the Carino Grandstand to its home in Quiapo Church. And as PTV's Rod Lagusad reports, a ban on firearms and alcohol is set to take effect next as a part of security preparations.
In less than a week, the annual Traslacion will be held. And just like the previous years, all hands on deck on its preparation. According to Manila Mayor Hani Lacuna, she expects at least 6 million people to attend. This year, for the first time ever, the Feast of the Jesus Nazareno will be a national feast, with every parish across the country participating simultaneously in the festivity.
Bagamat ito'y pagsalaganap, inaasahan din pa rin naman natin syempre, iba pa rin para sa mga deboto magpunta sa Quiapo. Kaya bagamat laganap na at natutuwa tayo dahil yung hindi makapunta sa Quiapo, magkakaroon sila ng local celebration, pero naghahanda pa rin tayo sa pagdagsa, pagpunta ng mga deboto.
The Quiapo Church urges devotees to keep the Feast of the Jesus Nazareno holy, safe, and organized. The route of the Traslacion this year remains the same as it was in 2020. According to Quiapo Church, waiting on bridges along the route will be prohibited until the Traslacion has passed. The roads in the route and adjacent areas will open after the Traslacion completes its passage and the area has been cleared. This year, the Andas or Courage is modified to prevent devotees from stepping onto and climbing its front portion. A glass panel has been added to the upper part of the images enclosure, allowing light to enter and ensuring it remains visible to the public. Additionally, an exhaust fan and ventilation system have been installed to prevent moisture on the glass enclosure, just like last year. The church reminds devotees that in Pahalik ritual at Carino Grandstand to refrain from kissing the image and keep themselves sanitized at all times.
Patuloy pa rin po sana na ipatutupad natin yung hand washing, sanitizing, at kung maaari po, kung hindi naman sa gabal, ay ang paggamit po ng face mask. Yun pa rin naman po ang pinapatupad natin.
Overall, around 14,000 security personnel will be deployed for the event, including police and personnel from the Armed Forces of the Philippines. The Manila Police District will also impose a gun ban from January 8, Wednesday, until January 11.
Week-long activity naman po ito. Marami na po kasing activities, lalo na sa may Quiapo area. Tuloy-tuloy po, pero meron po kami tinatawag dyan na skeletal deployment. But come January 8 in the evening, full deployment na po kami, not only dito po sa Quiapo, hindi lang po sa Carino Grandstand, but also doon na rin po sa ruta.
In today's first Friday Mass of the New Year, over 111,000 attendees were recorded as of 6 p.m. Despite the heat and the crowd, Annie, a devotee, shared how she received many blessings from her prayers.
Sa akin, papasalamat kay Moong Nazareno sa lahat ng tulong na binibigay niya sa akin at blessing para sa buong pamilya ko. Kaya buong akong nagpapasalamat sa kanya, sa Panginoon at kay Mama Mary at kay Moong Nazareno.
Meanwhile, at 9 p.m. on January 8, road closures will begin. From January 8 to January 10, the Manila LGU will enforce a liquor ban in the vicinity of Quiapo. Among the items prohibited during the Traslacion are medium to life-size replicas of Jesus Nazareno, firearms, bladed weapons, selfie sticks, and large bags. From PTV Manila, Rod Lagusad, Balitang Pambansa.
In line with this, Malacanang declared January 9 as a special non-working day in the city of Manila in observance of the Feast of Jesus Nazareno. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin signed proclamation number 766 to allow devotees to participate in the annual religious activity, ensure an orderly procession, and facilitate the traffic flow.
More about the Traslacion, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, will deploy units to support the Philippine National Police, or PNP, in securing the Feast of Jesus Nazareno in Manila on January 9, the Philippine News Agency reported. AFP Public Affairs Office Chief Colonel Cesar Trinidad confirmed the Joint Task Force National Capital Region is working with other agencies to ensure safety during the Traslacion procession. While details are still being coordinated, Colonel Trinidad assured all necessary measures are in place. The National Capital Region Office will deploy more than 12,000 officers with over 2,000 personnel for support.
The number of passengers recorded by the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange, or PTX, has already reached over 2.5 million from December 2024 to January 2, 2025. The figure is the highest ever recorded for the duration of Christmas to New Year. For their part, PTX has ramped up security measures to ensure the safety of passengers. Meanwhile, no traffic buildup on both lanes of the North Luzon Expressway, or NLEX, was observed today, and there have also not been that many vehicles passing through the toll gates. NLEX, however, expects the volume of motorists will start to increase today, then peak with a huge influx by Monday next week. While passengers in bus terminals are starting to increase and traffic in front of terminals are also beginning to build up, mostly due to taxi cabs picking up and dropping off passengers. On On the other news, the Department of Health or DOH reported the number of firecracker-related injuries rose to 704. An additional 112 cases were logged on December 31, 54 on New Year's Day, and 4 in the previous days. The updated total is 16.9% higher than the 602 cases logged in 2024. The DOH also reported about a 70-year-old male from Nueva Ecija who lit a Judas belt on December 22 and died on December 27.
Time is up. The clock has run out on all 11,000 foreign POGO overstaying their presence in the country. With their immigrant status now turned illegal, all are up for deportation whether they give themselves up or get caught in hiding. PTV's Luisa Erispe reports.
Since 2024 has ended, the deadline for foreign POGO workers is also up. However, the Bureau of Immigration said there are about 11,000 foreign nationals who refuse to leave the country and have gone hiding or undercover.
Whether nag-downgrade ka or hindi, sama-sama na kayong illegal aliens ngayon. Yun pa lang natin sila matatag as illegal aliens if they miss the December 31 deadline.
Though the BI wishes these foreign nationals to voluntarily surrender and be deported, most of them refuse to abide by the law. So, a mass hunt operation is afoot for each of these overstaying foreign workers. They have already coordinated with the National Bureau of Investigation and local government units to ensure each of them will be deported.
Meron po tayo ding manhunt operations na ginagawa upang hanapin po sila at kung maaring hulihin kung mayroong mga, lalo na kung meron silang mga smaller operations na ginagawa dito, which is what we fear. Kung sakali po na tinatag ng mga kumpanya nila, they may be charged. Pwede po natin silang kasuhan for harboring illegal aliens. Katulong po natin ng ating intelligence division dun sa mga regional arms ng ating intelligence ay yung mga local law enforcement units.
The Department of Interior and Local Government, on the other hand, released an order empowering local officials to ensure no foreign national is hiding among their constituents and no illegal gambling operations exist in their jurisdictions.
Iiwan na kami sa lahat ng mga local governments that they are responsible for checking all the buildings, all the occupancy permits, all the electrical permits, all the fire safety permits, para makita kung para may full capacity sila na makapasok sa lahat ng mga buildings sa kanilang mga localities.
Meanwhile, the Office of the Solicitor General is also in the process of canceling birth certificates of thousands of foreign nationals who fraudulently acquired their citizenships. The OSG is also after their assets and properties which were illegally acquired during their stay in the Philippines. The office confirmed there are thousands of cases needing study and review.
May mga sinampulan ng OSG arising from yung mga Quadcom hearings last year in both cancellation proceedings and civil forfeiture proceedings.
The OSG hopes for the help of Congress through legislation which will authorize the office to cancel birth certificates themselves. The OSG said this may be cheaper and will expedite due process on the thousands of cases ready for filing. From People's Television Network, Luisa Erispe, para sa Balitang Pambansa.
Top government officials discussed the updated guidelines for the Ayuda para sa Kapos ang Kita or AKAP program. The meeting of the chiefs of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, National Economic and Development Authority, and Department of Labor and Employment is in line with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s directive to implement AKAP and other national programs with clear conditional guidelines. Present in the discussion were DSWD Undersecretaries Adonis Sulit and Monina Josefina Romualdez, along with PSA Undersecretary Claire Dennis Mapa and NEDA Undersecretary Rosemary Idilion.
The National Security Council or NSC is currently investigating the origins of an underwater drone found in Masbate. NSC Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya stated they are reviewing several pieces of information, including the drone specifications and the ships that pass through the area. The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, is continuing its investigation, which will guide the government's next steps. Malaya emphasized the discovery of the drone, which is used for reconnaissance and surveillance, has national security implications. He also noted that while it is too early to speculate, authorities are coordinating with the foreign counterparts to gather additional information.
It's too early to say, partner, no? Mahirap mag-speculate as to the possible motives of this drone, no? Kasi kung lalabas dito na it comes from this certain country at ang ginagawa niya ay illegal, then we can say, no, and make a conclusion. As of now, hindi mahirap mag-speculate, no? Let's just give our authorities enough time para matapos nila yung kanilang investigasyon. We're also coordinating very closely with our foreign counterparts para malaman natin, para makakuha pa tayo ng additional information tungkol dito. Kasi ang nakakabahala kasi nito ay nasa more or less archipelagic waters ng ating bansa. Nagpapadala tayo ng mga vessels mula sa Philippine Coast Guard at sa BFAR, we have been doing rotational deployment ng ating mga barko para masuportahan yung ating mangingisda, no? Makakaasa po ang ating mga mangingisda dyan sa Zambales, no, Pangasinan, na siyang pumupunta sa Baho de Masinloc, na hindi po titigil ang ating pamahalaan na magbigay ng suporta sa kanila in terms of presence, at the same time yung libreng diesel at mga pinamimigay na mga iba pang suportang pagkain para maipagpatuloy nila yung kanilang pangingisda sa area ng Baho de Masinloc.
And for our weather, the northeast monsoon is affecting extreme northern Luzon, while the shear line will have an effect over central Luzon and the rest of northern Luzon. Based on Tagasa's latest weather forecast, Batanes will have cloudy skies with rains. Cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and isolated thunderstorms will fall on central Luzon, Ilocos Region, Cordillera Administrative Region, and the rest of Cagayan Valley. Meanwhile, Metro Manila and the rest of the country will experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms due to localized thunderstorms.
Up next, Comelec will start printing the 2025 ballots next week.
The ICT sees Dumaguete's potential to become the Center for Excellence for IT BPM. The details and more when Balitang Pambansa returns.
Sa paggamit ng isang bagay na kahit tagal inasam, bawat hakbang ay tila hamong walang hanggang. Ngunit sa tagumpay na makakamtan, ligaya'y abot langit kay sarap sa kalooban. Panoorin ang kwento ni Tatay Domingo kung paano ang kanyang matagal na paghihintay sa titulo ng lupa ay nahahalin tulad niya sa kanyang matyagang panliligaw sa kanyang mahal na asawa.
Ako si Domingo Pada Jr., 79 anyos, nagpuyo sa Barangay Igang, Caribbean Leyte. Na ako'y asawa, Antonia L. Pada, may 5 kabuk anak. Ang akong pagpanguyab kan Antonia, sama sa paghulat ko sa titulo sa yuta. Sa nga panahon, wala ko mawad ng paglaong. Sa ako paghulat sa titulo sa akong yuta. Nagatuo ko nga sa tanang butang makabot o muabot tra ang ginatawag nga samang panahon.
Sa ilalim ng administrasyon ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. at sa pamamahalan ni Agrarian Reform Secretary Conrado Estrella III, ang pamamahagi ng mga titulo ng lupa ay tumaas ng 2,560%.
Dako ang akong pagpasalamat kay Presidente Bongbong Marcos para sa iya pagtagad sa mga parauma.
The Department of Agriculture, or DA, will launch the Sulit and Nutri-Rice in Kadiwa ng Pangulo outlets this year. Agriculture Assistant Secretary Arnal de Mesa said the price of Sulit rice will range from 35 to 36 pesos per kilo, while Nutri-Rice will cost 37 to 38 pesos per kilo. The Marcos administration eyes to have an additional 700 Kadiwa ng Pangulo sites nationwide in March and around 1,500 before the end of 2028. Apart from Kadiwa stores, Sulit and Nutri-Rice will also be available in some markets and train stations.
Sa ngayon ay marami tayong supply at we can assure the public that marami tayong enough na supply para sa lahat.
The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, is already eyeing several important tasks that need to be accomplished before the holding of the 2025 midterm polls. Among them is the actual printing of ballots and the much-anticipated release of the official list of aspirants, which even the poll body admits might still be revised depending on the decision on pending and appeal on disqualification cases. PTV's Luisa Erispe has more.
The Commission on Elections is in full swing preparing for the 2025 national and local elections. Starting next week, the Commission is scheduled to start printing ballots at the National Printing Office.
Sa January 6 po ay magsisimula ang imprenta natin ng balota. In fact, sasaksihan po natin ang lahat ng yan, yung pagsisimula ng pag-imprenta ng balota.
The Commission will start printing ballots for overseas voting, which is about 1.3 million pieces. This is because most countries allow internet voting for OFWs. But before the printing starts, on Sunday, the COMELEC is also expected to release the ballot face templates. These contains names of the candidates, which will be included in the official ballots to be printed. The COMELEC explained, though they are ready for the scheduled printing and with a complete official list of aspirants in hand, they still anticipate changes on the list due to pending appeals and unresolved disqualification cases before the Unbank and the Supreme Court.
Meron pong wording doon na meron maaaring pangalan na kasama pa, pero maaari pong matanggal pa na kapag po lumabas ang final and executory judgment ng komisyon.
One of the several appeals is from former Caloocan 2nd District Representative Edgar Erice, who was a supposed re-electionist candidate for Congress. However, the Unbank disqualified him for allegedly spreading false information on the election process. He personally asked the Supreme Court for a temporary restraining order on COMELEC's decision.
Pag nabasa niyo po yung resolution ng COMELEC, ay napaka nakakatawa, ridiculous, sapagkat ang basihan po nila ay nilabag ko raw yung Section 261 ng Omnibus Election Code. Pero maliwanag na maliwanag, kahit basahin nyo ngayon, ito po ay malalabag mo lamang sa araw ng halalan.
Erice also insists the decision is baseless because he was not using any false information. Rather, he was just asking for clarifications on the contract of the COMELEC and Miro Systems Company Limited, the country's ACM provider for the election.
Yung pong mga sinasabi ko may batayan, iyan po ay aking constitutional right para i-criticize ang isang ahensya ng gobyerno at sino mang pinapasweldo ng mamamayang Pilipino. At ako po isang taxpayer. Hindi po ako kasalukuyang opisyal ngayon, ordinaryong taxpayer. At gusto nilang kitilin yung aking karapatan na yan. At sa pamamagitan ng pag-disqualify sa akin, ginagantihan nila ako.
The COMELEC chairman welcomed his appeal before the High Court, but said they will proceed with the printing of ballots as scheduled.
Hanggat wala po kami nakukuha na temporary restraining order o pagpapahinto sa amin sa Korte Suprema, we will have to proceed with the printing of the ballots. I am officially writing a letter to our Honorable Chief Justice informing the Supreme Court through the Chief Justice that we will already start printing of the ballots by January 6, by Monday. It is not to influence the Supreme Court on what to do doon sa mga kasong na-file sa kanila, subalit para po maiwasan yung nangyayari ng mga nakakaranghalalan na napapagalitan ng COMELEC sapagkat hindi na i-inform ang ating kataas-taasang hukuman kung ano ng update sa ating paghahanda, sa ating preparasyon.
From People's Television Network, Luisa Erispe, Balitang Pambansa.
Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, Director Teresito Bacolcol clarified the alert level of Kanlaon volcano can still be raised to 4. That's why he advised residents to remain vigilant and observant of their surroundings. PHIVOLCS is continuously monitoring the activities of the said volcano as well as other ones in the country.
On the other news, the Bureau of Corrections, or BUCOR, asked the National Bureau of Investigation and the Philippine National Police to investigate the stabbing incident inside the New Bilibid prison. According to Philippine News Agency's report, BUCOR officer in charge, Assistant Secretary Al Pereras, in separate letters asked the two agencies to further establish the facts, promote transparency, and determine accountability regarding to the incident. Moreover, the BUCOR identified Ricardo Peralta as the deceased, while Reginald La Cuerta and Bert Cupada were injured.
Dumaguete City, a rather sleepy town, economically despite its vast potential given its formidable human resource, is all primed for a surge in the information technology business processing and management sector, as a recent DICT official observed. Philippine Information Agency Negros Oriental correspondent Roy Lamotan tells us why.
Dumaguete City and Negros Oriental has the potential to become a center for excellence for information technology and business process management industry. Department of Information and Communications Technology Undersecretary for ICT Development Attorney Josel Batapa-Sige made this observation during her recent visit to Dumaguete City for the Regional ICT Summit and exhibitions of DICT 7. She said now is the time to boost the IT BPM industry in Negros Oriental to generate more jobs for people in rural areas.
This is just my own personal prediction. It will be subject to industry and scientific processes, but I see Dumaguete and Negros Oriental advancing from a next wave city to a higher level classification in the IT BPM industry, because you have what it takes to be high in this classification.
Sige noted that Metro Clark, Metro Manila, Cebu, Iloilo, and Bacolod City are currently designated by DICT as centers for excellence for IT BPM. However, Negros Oriental still needs to strengthen its ICT ecosystem and broaden its scope to entice more investors to put up companies in the province. The ICT ecosystem is composed of local government units, active ICT councils, industry experts, and the academe.
My unsolicited suggestion to the province is really to focus on creating a talent development center for the whole province, where the provincial government can invest, and as well as national policymakers, is to invest in the Filipino development, yung human talent.
From Philippine Information Agency, Negros Oriental, Roy Lamotan, Balitang Pambansa.
And that concludes our rundown of the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news and information from all across the nation. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Joe Fernandez.
This is your trusted news source, always ready to inform and serve the Filipino people. Catch Balitang Pambansa again next week at 7 a.m., 12 noon, 6 p.m., and 9:30 p.m. for more updates and developments. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Princess Habiba Saripauda, and this is
Balitang Pambansa.